the Gun Violence Archive, my favorite punching bag. You've got K through 12 database. I've got Gun Violence Archive. We each have our own little darlings, but it turns out they've been kind of hiding the numbers a little bit, Tim, and they may have gotten caught a little bit. I know. I can see your surprise. I can.
Yeah,
I can see it. But I'm about to take my Freedom Flame Thrower, my Freedom Flamethrower to this, and I'm going to enjoy it immensely. All right. So, as you know, Gun Violence Archive, always there to classify everything as a mass shooting or something horrible. I just want to bring something to your attention to get your take and see if I land this plane, all right? So first thing I'm going to do is number 11. So this is from 2023 because, 2023 is wrapping up, right? A day or two. Well, it turns out that we have 18,555 homicides, murders, unintentional shootings, and defensive gun uses. So that's 18,555. Well, that number by itself, compared to 2022, if we go back to number 10, that's around 2,000 lower than the death number at 2022, right? So we are back in the range of the 2020 era, right before 2020, right? We've covered that. That's nothing new. However, something interesting popped up on the same graph from 2022. This is number 10. Do you see at the very bottom there, it says defensive gun use and unintentional shooting, how they're separated out independently?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because at the top, it says deaths at 20,000. And down here, it says defensive gun uses and in unintentional shootings separated. Well, if you go to 2023, it's all included in the same number.
I noticed that when you were talking about it, by the way. It's like, why are they including defensive gun uses, which are justified?
Yeah,
that isn't murder.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah.
Isn't that odd? Because that would mean that the numbers are actually worse than we thought they were. We thought it was a reduction of around 9 to 10% because they were saying, oh, look at all the gun deaths, but then they kind of like tried to hide it under the table. But then if you take all the calculations, it's actually around 4,500 people of a difference, which equates to around 20% difference. 20% year over year, and that's before they adjust it out and take out the unintentionals and the defensive gun uses for 2023.
Wasn't it?
This was a culling.
Yeah. At one point, didn't they admit 20%?
No, they admitted 10%.
Okay.
That was the media. That's the reports we were reading. It was 9% in the reports we were reading. Okay. But then Katie from Stone Second Sense, our sister channel, she went in here and she goes, something seems weird. And she actually dove in and we actually kind of dug it up and figured it out. It's actually 20% before they adjust the numbers and they give us the actual breakdown similar to the previous 7 years they did here. They've been lying to you.
Well, we've been saying that all along.
Yeah, but I can point to it now. I can point and say, look.
Yep.
It's insane how stupid they think people are.
Well, people won't look, and the media likes to use Gun Violence Archive. And keep in mind, this is an archive, a study group that is funded purely by anti-gunners. And so,
absolutely.
And we've been saying all along, this is just propaganda. There's no science to anything that they're doing here. It's all manipulating numbers for political reasons. And as you said, you just pointed it out, and now you brought the receipts and shown that, yes, they are and have been lying, and likely knowingly so. I mean, I know they're dumb as rocks, but I would imagine this is malicious. This isn't just a matter of their own stupidity getting in their own way. I think
they wouldn't. No. They would
it's
they?
Like K-12
they
database. Wouldn't. I mean, they just, and they get like actual statisticians. That's all, folks. Statisticians.
I can't say flamethrowers.
Yeah. He gets called out by people saying, dude, this is bunk data. There's nothing here. And he just keeps going with it. And then other news sources will come in and glob onto whatever it is he posted, and they'll run with it, kind of like what they do with the Gun Violence Archive. They just take misinformation, and run with it because it serves their political agenda, and that's why these groups exist to generate lies.
Exactly. And that's why I want to do this as a second segment, because when you stack this on what we just covered with the lowest homicide rate ever, this is an important piece to understand. Beautiful people of the Second Legacy. When you go through a year or 2 or 3 of just extreme gaslighting, if you're highlighting the numbers the entire time and go, guys, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. They are absolutely lying to you, like we've done. And then all of a sudden, when election year comes around, they do a 1080, or not 1080, that's not right, a 180, and now they're going in the opposite direction. And the whole time you're going, guys, I've got the numbers right here. In fact, when you go into this in about probably 6 months, 5 months, when they put up 2023 on this graph on number 10, you're going to actually see this around 2019 levels because they haven't even removed unintentional or defensive gun uses yet. This is a really great example of how they manipulate you the entire time. And when it doesn't work, they do a complete U-turn. Forget the gun control narrative. They put somebody else on the pedestal because they want complete power. The gun control fight's an important one to understand and be a part of, but understand from them, it's just a pillar. They focus on this one. Oh, it's not working. Oh, well, then we focus on this one. Okay, well, then it's literally plug and play. That's exact. It's like a Price is Right game.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. They have a
Bob
conclusion, and they work backwards from there. So that's where they get their numbers. They already know where they want to be.
Biden.
Yep. So they already know what the outcome is that they want. So they just manipulate the data to get the outcome. And they just and here we just caught them manipulating it back and forth. And they're gonna manipulate it to make Biden look like he's stopped all crime in America. And then after, like you said, the election, and should he win again, then they're gonna go right back to, oh wait, look, guys, homicide's back up again. Oh, we gotta ban the guns. It's the guns.
Right. Oh man, we had a big spike. The data didn't change. Yeah, we had a big spike though. We really gotta do something.
They're gonna start calling it
Salty
Putin's
Shannon
crime
over
wave.
there.
They're gonna start calling it Putin's crime wave.
Not Putin's crime wave again. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I hate when that happens. But and Tim, I think this is the part of the hope in the kind of wrapping this segment up. This is why I think it's important to do what we all do, not just us, but like all the channels, all the gun rights advocates. The more that we are here calling them out and basically just dispelling all of it, eventually they lose credibility to more and more and more people. And then they have to change it up and go to something else. If we were not fighting this like this, it would not matter.
And it works, folks. I mean, we've noticed just in the last few weeks, they're now saying, guns are the number one killer of children. Oh, and teens. Because what have we been telling them?
Teens.
You've been including teens and adults in these numbers. It's disingenuous. And we've said it so long and so loud that now they're even coming out going, guns are the number one killer of children and teens and young men and gang members.
And teens and gang members.
It's like they're finally, we force them to actually have some integrity. It's very difficult to do, and if they do find any, it's fleeting. It'll be gone within moments, but it does work, and it is working.
It does. I mean, like if you even look at that graph number 11, like you just brought up, it even says it and shows it to you right there. At the very bottom of that, it says number of children aged 0 to 11, 292 out of a population of 50 million people.
Yeah.
And then right below that, number of teens, 12 to 17, turns out it's about 6 times more. Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's the children.
It's so odd. And it's for the children.
And the people in this age group, a good chunk of that is gang violence. We don't have a gun problem. We have a gang inner city violence problem. We have our cities are seeing the surge. What surges there are in crime are happening in our cities. And they just keep wanting to blame the guns, but they don't want to address the core problem. They need to address the gang problem, the drug problem, and everything else that feeds into the violence that we encounter in this country. It has nothing to do with the guns.
That's it. And that's it. And the amazing part for you guys watching is it's not about me and Tim saying it, Jared saying it, Anthony saying it. It's about you guys taking the information and spreading it. Because the more that you take this stuff, the more they have to counter and put more resources in to counter what you're doing. Mm-hmm. This is it's not an us thing. Like we may be at a point where, hey, we bring this to you, 4,000 people see it, 80,000 people see it, whatever the number is. But it's what those 80,000 people do to combat the gun control narrative that makes it a harder objective for them. It's you guys. That's the important piece.